Hello, do you recognize me with my costume? I am filming this on Friday, so the day before Halloween, while all of you are watching it on Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully the ears and stuff aren't too distracting. It's just how it's going to be for this video. But this week, we'll be introducing two new elements of art, and they are shape and color. Our project for it will be introduced during the live session on Wednesday. So we're just going to focus on the definition and learning a bit more about these two elements. So our essential question for this project is the same as the last project. You're going to continue to practice this, which is how do artists use shapes and colors to convey a meaning, message, or thought into their artwork? So last time we focused on using lines to convey a feeling or a message, and this time we're only using shape and color. So if you have already made your covers before, maybe you worked on it last time, you can go ahead and grab it and follow me while I give you the definitions. So a shape is a flat, two-dimensional or 2D enclosed area. Artists use both organic and geometric shapes. So what do those mean? Let me move my face. So organic means irregular, curvy, and flowy. It's typically a shape found in nature. So it's natural. Think organic and natural. Geometric is uniform measurements, sharp and angular, and typically not found in nature. So think back to like your math classes maybe, and triangles, squares, hexagons, those are geometric shapes because of their perfect measurements and really sharp angles. Here's some more examples. You probably recognize these shapes, the geometric ones. I'm sure you've seen them either drawn on a piece of paper or with any blocks you used. And organic is genuinely anything that is like handmade that still has that human feel to it. It's not perfect. It's really soft. And if you really look at them, I'm sure you can see the difference. So our second element is a color. So color is what our eyes see when light reflects off an object or surface. When light reflects off of something, our brain and our eyes will process it to see a color. It's kind of weird to think about, but it's also really cool. So there are three key properties of color. It's not as simple as you might think. So there's hue, which is the color's name, intensity, which is a color's strength or purity, and value, which is a color's lightness and darkness. And I'll go over that in just a little bit. But before that, let's talk about how we mix colors. So there are three colors that we all start with. Those are the primary colors. Primary means one or first. So artists use these three colors, red, blue, and yellow, to make the rest of the colors that you see, which is really cool. Secondary colors are the colors you get from mixing primary colors only. So red and blue makes purple, red and yellow makes orange, and blue and yellow makes green. And from those options, you can make the rest of the colors that exist. It's really cool. I hope we'll be able to find a way for you all to experience color mixing during distance learning. We'll figure it out. So on the left is an example of intensity. So intensity is when you take one color and you mix it with a color that is opposite of it, that contrasts it. It's called complementary, and we'll go over this more, but a complementary color or color palette is when you use colors that are sitting opposite on a color wheel. I just said color a lot. So let's look at this wheel right here. See yellow at the top. Yellow is a primary color, which we just learned, and directly across from it is purple. which means purple and yellow are complementary colors. And if you wanted to change the intensity of one of them, you use the opposite color and you mix it in a little bit. So this row up here on this photo on the left, you see this yellow matches this yellow right here. So it's pure. It hasn't been like dirtied yet, which basically means it hasn't been mixed with its complement. But if you go down, you can see it get duller and duller. It's getting darker. And that's not changing the value like what we did with shading. It's adding in a bit of purple each way. So by the end, it's super grayish looking. That's intensity. Value is something we are all familiar with if you did the shading practice. It's a little different when you talk about it in terms of color, but we're not going to worry about all that. You can read it here. But basically, colors themselves can change values by adding white, gray, or black. And it basically just gets more red or less red and becomes like pink or really dark purpley red color because of the black. And hue is the easiest one to remember. It is simply the name of the color. Nothing more to add there. So those are shapes and colors, and we will talk about both more later, but that's all you need to know right now. So let me introduce you to 3 artists who use both shape and color really intentionally in their artwork. So artists who use shape and color. First artist is named Pasita Abad. She is born in the Philippines. Pasita Abad started her career studying law and organizing student demonstrations in Manila, which is in the Philippines, when there was a lot of political unrest. The increased violence towards her family led her to move away, and she ended up studying in San Francisco. Abad spent many years traveling all across the world and includes different cultures, stories in her work. She takes a lot of influence from different art styles all across the world, and she mixes them together. So it's not always clear what her influence is, but her work is pretty amazing. As you can see, we're not looking at anything that's recognizable, right? Like you don't see a face, you don't see an object that you know. We're looking at pure shapes and colors. So you could definitely describe her work as abstract. So just take some time and look at these. You see she's using different shapes too in each piece and combining different things. This work on the left looks a lot more like kind of like a paper craft type of thing, while the right you can kind of see some texture, which feels more painter. Some more examples. The one on the left is definitely recognizable, but the recognizable shape or object is built from different geometric shapes in this case, or a bit of organic because we have that curvy line, but the strips in the background definitely feel geometric, at least to me. And then we have a really, really abstract and layered piece of artwork on the right. Our second artist who focuses on using shape and color is Beatriz Millais. I listened to the pronunciation and then I still can't say it. So it's, if anyone speaks Portuguese or knows how to pronounce it correctly, please let me know. But she takes influence from both Latin American and European traditions to create vibrantly colorful geometric artwork. She draws inspiration from her, she draws inspiration for her artwork from opera, classical, and Brazilian popular music. So you're going to see a lot of like rhythm and movement in her work. So in this piece, she split it up into 3 different areas. This left section with the square diamond background, and then the really bright shapes on the front that feel like they're closer to us. Different color palette in the middle, but still including the circle, and then flipping the background and foreground on the right side. So even though we know it's all flat, it kind of feels like things are moving forward and backward. So I personally can see the music influence, but maybe you do, maybe you don't, it's okay. Some more examples. Okay, our last artist who focused on shape and color is named Aaron Douglas, who was a prominent African-American painter and graphic artist during the Harlem Renaissance, which happened in 1920s. He was born in Topeka, Kansas, and fell in love with the arts at an early age as his mother worked with watercolor paint. You'll be able to see that influence too. Douglas is referred to as the father of Black American art. So if you're looking at this one, you're seeing complementary colors, even though it might be hard to notice. Oh, whoops. We see these cool tone purples and warm tone purples as we get closer and closer to the yellow area. Remember, we just looked at the color wheel. Purple and yellow are opposite, so they're complementary. And there's like this layering opacity kind of effect, which makes it feel like watercolor, even though I don't think it is. This color palette, I'll teach you the name, or color scheme, I mean. I'll teach you the name on Wednesday, but it's also following a specific artist rule. And this one is as well. And there are different color schemes that artists will use to make their artwork either feel really vibrant and energetic, or maybe muted, or even just harmonious, depending on how they pick their colors. And we'll be working towards that goal so you can communicate whatever you want with your artwork using just shapes and just colors. So feel free to rewatch this video or go look at the presentation link without me there narrating. You're going to have to design your covers for shape and color if you haven't yet, and write the definitions down. There will be more information on what you have to do for the other days. So make sure to check your week at a glance and always look through the classwork. Okay, thank you.